Good morning. I'm about to step into babyland. I'll be taking care of some kids for the next 3 days. And I just want to drop a quick couple of thoughts here with you. You might hear Dobby snoring in the background. He's with me. I couldn't be happier with the global response to our president's newly established tariff policies. And the reason is because the United States of America truly has a position of prominence and dominance on the planet, and we've been acting as if we don't. Even worse is that we've been acting as if we feel guilty for this fact. And when it comes to things like white guilt, white shame, or American guilt, American shame, these are toxic. They do not serve the future. They do not serve the to improve life for anyone, and they absolutely neuter and they hamper and they castrate and they weaken and they lower the ability that we have to engage in a meaningful and improving way with the rest of the world. We simply cannot perform our obligatory job as such a dominant nation on earth if we're sitting around in histrionics and lashing ourselves, self-flagellation and all of that goes along with this weird American shame that is festering like a cancerous wound in our nation. So what was beautiful, and you'll see below, I'm going to share it in the text section of this post, is how the world is absolutely waking up, and they're like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, you're right. We can't just take the United States for granted, because that's what's been going on a number of levels. We're being taken for granted. We're being taken advantage of, and we need to step into our big boy and big girl boots, and we need to accept the reality that we are blessed to have the opportunity and the capacity to be influencers on the world stage, and we need to do so with responsibility and not try to ameliorate our shame and guilt by being weak. And you don't want to be the rug on the ground that people walk across. So, and also when it comes to stock markets being volatile, like, I don't know, I'm old enough that this really doesn't bother me. You should not be playing in the world of stocks unless you can afford to lose what you have in the stock market. You should not go to Las Vegas and gamble unless you can lose and be okay losing the money you brought to Las Vegas to gamble with. If you're going to go to Las Vegas, you got to say, how much money am I willing to not come home with? And that's how much you go to play with. And when you run out, you stop gambling. So when it comes to the stock market and other markets around the world having, dropping, part of this is happening, sadly, in a deeply tragic way, because there are a few people who have a lot of influence and a lot of money and a lot of power, and they're manipulating the market. They are triggering the panic and the sell-offs, and they did that when the market was high. So they know they're going to trigger a drop, and then they'll walk back in and rebuy all the stocks that they sold high. They're going to buy them low, and they're going to make an obscene amount of money, while a bunch of people who are more emotionally driven and who are more economically fragile and so on and so forth, they're all panicking, they're all selling as the market is slumping, and that's really too bad. And I'm sorry that there are people who are in the market who don't know how to manage their engagement. And This market is going to recover just like it did very quickly since the collapse at the beginning of the pandemic. And the people who don't sell are going to be fine in a couple of years. And that's what it should be when it comes to the stock market. You should be expecting your money to be there for a while, and or you're okay if you lose it. If those two conditions are not your conditions, then you shouldn't be in the market. This adjustment is being spoken about by the media, which is using it to attempt to undermine the Trump administration. And so what we know is that media covers any type of a shock or a emergency or a disastrous situation, anything at all that can startle, scare, and frighten people. The media is all over it because that's how they're going to get your attention, and that's how they're going to sell you their advertising, and that's how they're going to make money. So it's really important to find some sources of information that are not so untrustworthy and that are not manipulative and volatile. Anyways, see below, awesome little quote from about the reality of what's going on. The United States is a superpower, and it's time for us to act like a superpower. And that means that we actually use our power to influence what's going on in the world openly, compared to USAID, which was a sneaky, nasty, way of using dark money to illicitly manipulate people around the world and to do all sorts of interesting things that were not good, but to do it without responsibility. The opposite of that is to stand up strong and be really blunt and open about what you're doing.